Good morning. It is the beginning of a new week. It is a time for reflection. We're about to change over to the new year, and you just never know what someone is experiencing in this life. I wanted to jump on here, especially. Good morning to you, Edie. I hope you're having a beautiful start to this week. I wanted to start out this week reminding people of the importance of kindness. And, we can say we're doing our best, we're being our kindest, but all that starts within. Everything that we're seeing and experiencing around us is meant for us to deeper reflect upon where we are. Life is showing up to us wherever we are. The people around us are giving us an opportunity to relate. That's what relationship is about. To be present with whatever and whoever we are. The holidays are the most challenging times for a lot of people. This is the time when there's a heightened awareness of our pains because of what we feel we're lacking or missing. Holidays remind us of good times and bad times. They go synonymously. It's easier to remember, Christmas is when this person in my life that I love so dearly passed away. They died. Or that was when we communed. And for me, myself, when I was a young child, it was a big family gathering. The holidays were all about coming together with my cousins, playing, all the joys, all the celebrations. Our lives revolve around communing, relating, relationship again. And relationship is how we grow the most. So we can get upset and say that someone did something to us, but nobody ever does anything to us. In fact, what we're experiencing, what we're witnessing is a trigger. Whatever comes up amongst others in relationship with another person, a situation, it's there to go, hello, can you deepen into this? Can you lean into this discomfort? When you can lean into the discomfort, you can find your way, you can ease into comfort. But unless you're willing to confront it, instead of pointing a finger and saying something externally is doing something to me, and recognize that something internally is being rubbed. Something is being brought up for your awareness. It is a test of mindfulness and how present you truly are in that moment. That if something triggers you, it's not the other person. They're just being the mirror for you. They're just there to provide you some means of deepening your relationship to yourself. You can only truly get to know yourself more fully through relating with another. And that can vacillate, like I talk about the pendulum, from this extreme to that extreme. But coming into neutrality and recognizing that the extremes are just contrasts in life to let you see what you consider is out of imbalance. If it's really, really good or it's really, really bad, it's just that showing you how attached you are to what you really want. It's to deepen your awareness to what is out of balance in your life. And I really am speaking to those of you out there that suffer the most in the holidays to know you're not alone. We are all going through something. This last decade was hell for a lot of people. It was amazing for others. And this is the time of reflection. This is the time where you get to say, wow, look at all I went through. Look at how it allowed me to grow. Because everything is an opportunity to move forward in life with more pizzazz. I'm stronger because I know myself more. You can't know yourself without engaging with another person and seeing if something comes up, because those triggers are showing you where you need to heal. Those triggers are there for you because they're saying, hey, I want to get out of here. I want to get out of this confinement. You've been suppressing me. You've been repressing it. You've been pushing it away. It's coming back. It's like a balloon or ball when it's in the water and you're trying to push it down and it just keeps on popping up. But it gets stronger because of the resistance to wanting to feel it, to heal it. Anything that is coming up for you, honor it. It may not feel good, but the more you're willing to get better at feeling into it, leaning into it, confronting it and asking it, what is this here to teach me about myself? Life isn't really bad. It's our way we think about it. It's the way we relate to life, to whatever's going on around us. Nobody does anything to us. And if we think somebody does something to us, that just shows where our mindset is. Are we stuck in a victim mentality? Because that's when we're pointing fingers outwardly. But when you're in a victor, hey, it's all about victory, then you recognize, wow, that used to bother me, that used to upset me. Look at me now. That's when you know you've healed it. And the trigger's no longer coming up and poking and provoking you. Because we're not meant to be in this poverty mindset or this poverty lifestyle. We're meant to prosper. And the more we're willing to sit with that discomfort and to confront whatever comes up, the better off we're going to be. The stronger, the more courageous, and we can be more vulnerable, because it takes vulnerability to step into that discomfort. It's uncomfortable for a reason. And the more you're willing to accept it, honor it, and just be with it, you'll become more whole. Because it isn't a part of you that you can just push away. It's actually a part of you you need to embrace and hold within you as a part that just made you grow that much stronger into who you are and were meant to be. You have gifts. And our gifts, I know my gifts have been coming like full force from my deepest challenges in life, my struggles. You can't have passion without compassion. You can't have compromise without coming to a promise. This is the reason I love words. Words are extremely powerful. And for those of you out there, yes, we sit and we can wallow in our misery, but at some point we have to recognize those discomforts are what gave us the awareness of what makes us comfortable. And when we can be comfortable, even in the discomfort, we're going to find that that in itself is our strength. That's what becomes the victor, is us owning it and growing through it and just going through life with so much vigor and so much more, because that is the more that we are. Don't push it away. In fact, embrace it and pull it closer to you. Lean into it, whatever it takes. That's what mindfulness and meditation and yoga is all about. It's about coming more into the awareness of who you are, who you were meant to be, who you were meant to show up as for others, as the strength that others need you to be for them. Because I guarantee there have been people in your life that have shown you strength that you admire. And you are that too, because whatever you recognize in another is you. You are that. Even the stuff we dislike, don't push it away. It doesn't make you a bad person. But you need to be kinder on your mind and not ignore those bits and pieces of yourself that you feel are broken and need to be fixed. In fact, nothing needs to be fixed. It just wants to be accepted by you. It's all part of you. We didn't come into this life to just have it easy. And if we do, then what happens? We become complacent. If things are all so easy and we keep our comfort zone all just nice and plush and soft and sweet, how are we ever going to grow? How are we ever going to learn? It takes more to live this life with the discomfort, but yet it's so much richer when we go with it. We own it. We accept it. It's not something to be pushed away or ignored. And I want those of you who are out there struggling during the holidays to know you are supported. If you need me or anyone in this, especially in the Ridiculously Authentic group, if you need something, reach out. Write a beautiful or even a not so beautiful post. This is what I'm going through. Whether you want advice or not, even stipulate, I don't need support, I don't need advice, I just want you to recognize to see me. I want you to hear me. Most people don't realize that if someone is confiding in you, they're not always asking for your opinion, your suggestion, your solutions, or for you to fix them. They really just need to want your attention. It's about witnessing. It's about being seen and heard. Because sometimes we don't feel others see us because we don't see ourselves. It all starts from within. And if someone isn't seeing you, it's probably because you're not seeing yourself and owning and accepting yourself where you're at and allowing whatever's coming up to come up. See, the holidays bring up our old wounds because it's a prominent time. It is everywhere. You can't ignore it. People are celebrating. You're not in a good mood, but other people are happy. You know, the best thing you can do, if you can mindfully do it, is to join in the celebration of others. Instead of being stuck in ourselves, seeing that someone else is happy and recognizing, wow, if I see happiness in them, there's hope for me. And no matter how hopeless you feel, if you look around yourself, you'll find somebody or something to reflect upon to you what it is you desire. And that should give you hope, because if you can see it, you can be it. If you recognize it, you can achieve it. But you have to be willing to step back and see where you're at and allow whatever's coming up. Not with shame, not with blame, and definitely not feeling guilty. Feelings are meant to be felt. The only way we can achieve true wholeness and healing is to be with whatever it is. Not to stay there, not to stay stuck in it. Journal, confide in a friend, go out in community, volunteer. Whatever it is that you need, get yourself out of that deep despair. But first be willing to go there. Because it's not going to go away just because you ignore it. In fact, the more you ignore it, the more it's going to come back, and it's going to come back, and it's going to come back. And the triggers will keep on showing up because they want your attention. Your soul is saying, hey, trigger me so that I can work through this and I can move on to the next thing. I can open myself up. Because once you're willing to work on one area of life, even if you don't know what it is, that's okay too. If something comes up for you, in that moment, the moment you give it your attention and say, wow, I had no idea. What is this here to teach me, to tell me more about myself? There's a huge wow factor involved in that, because when you give yourself permission to be fully in it, you're also giving yourself permission to allow that to move through, because the energy needs your attention. It can't move. It'll stay stuck, because even though you think you're rejecting it, you're choosing it to be stuck. Whatever we choose, here's the key. Whatever we choose can be a rejection of something else. And so when we don't choose to own and allow and accept that part of ourselves that doesn't feel so great, we're also rejecting it, and nobody wants to feel rejected. So rejection starts with ourselves too. And if you think other people are rejecting you, you have to really deeply go within and go, is someone rejecting me, or am I just rejecting myself? Because that's a reflection too. How we treat ourselves shows up with how others treat us. And we have to give them permission through the way we treat ourselves first. So I just wanted to really just touch upon this, because there's a lot of lifestyle changes, a lot of huge major life changes that I know a lot of people are going through as well. And with 2020 rolling in here in just less than 48 hours, I want you to understand that we're all going through something. This past year, especially for me, it's been over a year and a half that life just went, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to say it's been easy, and I can't say that I'm perfect and that I don't have emotions or old patterns that came up as a result. In fact, those patterns coming up gave me the opportunity to lean in and go, oh, that's that way I used to act when this happened in my past. And it didn't serve me back then. And how's it going to serve me now if I keep continuing to act the same way? If I keep repeating the same patterns, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It takes mindfulness and the willingness to change, because once you make that like statement, energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically, however you do it, you got to move that energy out. And a lot of times for me, it's got to be a physical movement. When you're willing to do that, when you just say, I am ready for change and I need this to change now. You're giving the universe the go ahead. Things will change for you. But you have to believe, you have to trust, and you have to be present with whatever it is right now. If you just keep on trying to reject it and push it away, you're just ignoring and abandoning, rejecting an aspect of yourself that makes you who you are. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person to reject it either, so don't beat yourself up about it, but be willing to recognize, oh my gosh, am I playing the victim again? Or am I trying to play the savior or the martyr? That's the vicious triangular system we live in. And if you're ever caught up in those areas, those are moments when you can grow even deeper into your relationship to yourself. So, I mean, whether it's relationship changes, I want you to consider every major life change is a death and rebirth process, because you're going from the familiar, even if it wasn't so great, to the unfamiliar. And our mind, our ego, our comfort, creature comforts, our habits prefer things that are routine. And so Maslow's hierarchies of human needs, you only need to constitute 3 of them to constitute an addiction. So if you satisfy 3 of those needs, you have an addiction. And most of us don't even realize our codependency and our addiction to our belief systems and the way that we live our daily lives. If you're used to somebody being in your life and all of a sudden that shifted, you will notice the little nuances of going to reach for the phone to call them, or, oh, they used to be here, and oh, I used to be able to ask them to do this. And you know what? It's just like death. You have to go through a grieving process. You have to honor that this is change. And sometimes you have to shift it and look at, now, what am I going to replace that with? That person served me. That situation served me. It's changing. But guess what? The mind wants to say it's going to be something bad on the other side because it doesn't know. And it's only basing off the past. And it's not even looking at the good past. It's looking at the bad past. Instead of going, wow, get excited. Because new is unfamiliar and it is a little uncomfortable. But it's only uncomfortable because our mind wants to create the worst case scenario instead of saying, ooh, what can I replace this with that's going to be even more juicy and exciting and rich in my life? Life is showing up to you how you want it to. And where your attention goes, the energy is going to flow and draw all that in. So I know everyone wants to have an amazingly abundant, prosperous, rich, juicy, loving, exciting new year in 2020. I know I do. But the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you can be comfortable, even in the uncomfortable. If you're willing to just show up and go, you know what? Ooh, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm willing to check it out and try anyway. That in itself takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of vulnerability, and you showing up is the first step. If you need help, reach out. We're here for you. I'm here for you. If you need support or just an ear to listen, all you got to do is ask. And yes, I know, some of us it's difficult to ask for help. Some of us it's difficult to reach out. But you can't play the martyr and act like, well, I don't want to because they'll think I'm weak, or you're afraid of being rejected. That's the biggest one right there. Most of us won't reach out. I say this for myself, because if I reach out and you say no, or you just ignore me, or you're unwilling and you're not interested to hear me, and so a lot of times that's the reason people won't ask for help, and they'll turn to addiction or whatever it is the coping mechanism may be to deal with or handle whatever's coming up. See, what I've found in my life personally, it is difficult to ask, to reach out. But I also learned to discern that there are people who are not able to hold me. And so it's very important that you know who you can trust, who you can confide in, and who can hold you. So for those of you who struggle with that, remind yourself you have to be willing to notice and recognize and hold people accountable. And this is just more mental. You don't necessarily have to hold people accountable in a point finger manner like that. But when I say hold accountable, I mean, wow, they've already shown me that they get upset. So I know that if I turn to that person, they can't support me. Turn to the people you know have been there for you before, or people you don't know, and I am one of them if you don't know me, even if you do. Turn to people you know you can rely on, you can trust. Because there will be people who say they can support you, who will be there for you, say, I'm here for you, I will do whatever it takes. And you know what? They don't even know their limitations. And unfortunately, they don't realize they're extending something they're unable to actually follow through and step into. So just be mindful of that, because those people too are struggling with their own inner demons and their own self-worth issues. And so we're all here, and you just have to be mindful. Just be mindful wherever you're at. If you need the support, you need the help, no matter what you're going through. I know I can be there for you as best as I can. I love you. I want you to thrive this next year. Step out of the victim role and stop looking to survive, but try to find yourself in a thriving community. Reach out for people who you feel the most aligned with. It takes a lot sometimes to step out of that old, I don't know, I got to be the strong one. But when you do, you'll find that's your biggest strength. That the strength doesn't just come from not asking for help or being vulnerable. In fact, that is going to be your biggest strength. So to start the week off, I'm going to just draw a card, because we could all use a little inspiration. And I love this deck. This is my favorite deck. So, what do we got for the cards today? It doesn't matter who you are. Just know you are loved. Even those of us who feel we're not, we all are. And we always have to start with ourselves. If you want someone to love you, you need to work on loving you the most. The love you seek out has to start within. I mean, there's no coincidence that words, the way they resonate, they carry power and they carry energy. And the words you choose to use are the ones that are creating the story of the life you are living. If you want to create a new story, you have to be willing to rewrite via your words, your dialogue, whatever you come out of your mouth. All right. X-ray vision. X-ray vision. Oh, and I love the other card too, because I always do the two. X-ray vision is number 2. It's the second card for 2020. So X-ray vision says, ignore everything in your life that suggests there's a problem. It's time to look past the illusory veil of petty struggles. As soon as you take your attention off all that appears wrong, you will begin to notice all sorts of right signs and clues. The universe is throwing buckets of clear guidance your way. See beyond the surface and the superficial. Soak in the deeper meaning. Soak in the refreshing water of truth. Couldn't have said it more clearly than that, huh? It's what we see, what we think is our truth, a lot of times is just what we're creating. But it doesn't make the situation true. We have to look further beyond our own veil of preconceived stories and beliefs, and even our past experiences. So for the next card, we're living large. Living large. Hey, come on. When you can get past your own mind, you will be living large, because the mind is very limited. So living large. You are drifting in an ocean of gold doubloons. Doubloons. I don't know what doubloons are. Does anybody know what doubloons are? You are drifting in a large ocean of gold doubloons. As always, it's your call. You can dive in. You can backstroke all the way to Istanbul, or you can stay in the pitty little raft you've been rowing. But it's all there, rich and luxurious as ever. Waiting for your nod. Jump in. The good life is yours. What do y'all say? Are you ready for the good life? So those are the messages for today and what I was feeling I felt needed to be conveyed. I love you all. I hope you have an amazing start to your week. Again, know that you are supported and deeply loved. Even if you don't feel it, look around you and look for something that excites you. Look to others who are having a good time. Surround yourself around people who are thriving, and try to pull yourself out of that survival mode. Because if we're in survival mode, it just means we're constantly looking for something to defend, or we're looking for something outside of ourselves. So I love you so much. Hopefully I'll get a chance to get on here tomorrow. Have an amazing day. I love you.